Monica Harper exposed a media giant's attempt to bury the truth about police brutality, facing attacks, threats, and sabotage. But her fight didn't end there. Her exposé sparked protests, toppled corrupt leaders, and forced the nation to confront injustice. What she did next will leave you speechless. But let's start at the beginning. Monica Harper stepped into the sleek modern offices of Global Media Network with equal parts excitement and determination. This was the culmination of years of hard work, late nights, and sacrifices, and she was ready to make her mark. However, from the moment she entered, subtle signs suggested the environment wasn't as welcoming as it appeared during the hiring process. The staff, predominantly white and male, exchanged quick, judgmental glances when Monica shared her ideas during meetings. Her pitches, often focusing on racial discrimination, economic inequity, and systemic injustice, were dismissed as too niche or not mainstream enough. Instead, stories about neutral topics or lighter, entertainment-driven content were prioritized, leaving her feeling sidelined. Colleagues questioned her objectivity, insinuating that her identity as a Black woman might make her too emotionally involved in the topics she advocated. "We need stories that resonate universally," one editor remarked after shooting down her proposal about unequal policing in predominantly Black neighborhoods. The unspoken message was clear. Issues impacting marginalized communities weren't universal enough for their audience. Monica's breaking point came when a story she had meticulously researched, a deep dive into corporate exploitation of minority-owned businesses, was handed to a white colleague who then presented it as his own work. Watching him receive accolades during the next editorial meeting felt like a slap in the face. When she raised the issue with HR, she was met with a patronizing smile and a vague suggestion to be a team player and focus on more collaborative storytelling. Defeated but not broken, Monica turned to her mentor, a retired Black journalist who had seen the industry evolve but not transform. He listened patiently, then cautioned her. "The system isn't built for us. You can fight it, but it's like standing in a storm. You'll need strength, resilience, and a plan." Those words struck a chord. Monica realized she couldn't depend on the network to amplify her voice. If she wanted to expose the stories that mattered, she'd need to find a way to do it on her own terms. The seed of a new idea began to take root. Monica Harper sat in the back row of a crowded city council meeting, her notebook filled with scrawled notes and underlined key points. The session was unremarkable at first. Lengthy debates over zoning laws and bureaucratic protocols, until a heated exchange between council members revealed an alarming truth. Monica's instincts kicked in as she uncovered clear evidence of corruption. Budget allocations meant for infrastructure improvements in predominantly Black neighborhoods had been systematically diverted to affluent, predominantly white areas under the guise of urban revitalization. She captured it all: documents, statements, and even whispers from whistleblowers after the meeting. Confident in her findings, Monica rushed back to the newsroom, eager to pitch the story. Her excitement was met with a cold wall of indifference. "It's too inflammatory," her editor said dismissively, barely glancing at the evidence she'd painstakingly gathered. "We can't risk alienating certain sponsors or viewers." Moments later, she watched in disbelief as the homepage of the network's site featured a frivolous lifestyle piece by a white colleague about choosing the perfect vacation wardrobe, a stark contrast to the urgency of her story. Monica's frustration boiled over. Time after time, her proposals addressing systemic injustices, police misconduct, redlining practices, and discriminatory housing policies were shelved. Instead, she was handed superficial diversity pieces, highlighting performative gestures by corporations, or celebrating cultural holidays, all without addressing deeper structural issues. These assignments felt hollow, as though her role was reduced to ticking a diversity checkbox. The breaking point came during a particularly heated editorial meeting, when Monica pushed back against the pattern of sidelining serious stories. An executive dismissed her concerns, labeling her approach as too aggressive and suggesting she find a way to fit into the team dynamic. Monica took an impromptu day off, retreating to a quiet park. As she sat on a bench, staring at the city skyline, the weight of the systemic hurdles she faced in the industry settled over her. But amidst the disillusionment, a spark of determination ignited. If the system refused to tell the stories that mattered, she would find her own way to make them heard. An idea began to form, a vision of creating a platform where no story was too inflammatory to be told. Monica Harper stood outside the glass doors of Global Media Network for the last time, her resignation letter still clutched in her hand. Walking away from what many considered a dream career felt surreal, but she knew she couldn't stay in a place that silenced her voice. Fueled by a mix of frustration and hope, Monica vowed to create something different, a platform where truth could thrive, without fear or compromise. With her savings and the unwavering support of her tight-knit community, Monica launched her own media platform, True Voice. Working from a modest co-working space, she hired a small but passionate team of journalists, videographers, and editors. Each hire brought diverse perspectives and a shared commitment to uncovering stories overlooked or deliberately buried by mainstream outlets. Their mission was clear: expose injustice, amplify marginalized voices, and push for systemic change. The team's first major project, a documentary on environmental racism in Black communities, highlighted how industrial facilities and toxic waste dumps were disproportionately placed in neighborhoods of color. The documentary combined on-the-ground reporting, emotional interviews with affected families, and damning data proving systemic neglect. Released online, the piece quickly went viral, sparking outrage and widespread calls for action. For Monica, it was proof that there was an audience hungry for the truth, but success came at a cost. Online trolls flooded True Voice's social media pages with racist and sexist attacks, attempting to discredit Monica and her team. Powerful entities implicated in their reports launched lawsuits, accusing them of defamation. Anonymous threats arrived in her inbox, warning her to back off. These challenges pushed her fledgling company to the brink of financial collapse, but Monica refused to back down. Her perseverance paid off. Families featured in her reports began receiving aid, and grassroots campaigns forced policymakers to take action. Communities were revitalized, and individuals found justice in ways they never imagined possible. Each victory, no matter how small, reaffirmed Monica's mission and strengthened True Voice's resolve. Through every trial, she reminded her team and herself, the truth is worth fighting for. As True Voice gained momentum, so did the stakes. Monica Harper had become a symbol of fearless journalism, but the growing spotlight also brought heightened risks. One late evening, she received an encrypted email from an anonymous source. The tip was explosive. A powerful media conglomerate had actively suppressed stories of police brutality to protect its corporate and political allies. The whistleblower included a trove of documents, emails, contracts, and meeting notes, but much of it was fragmented and circumstantial. For Monica and her team, the investigation represented both an unprecedented opportunity and a daunting challenge. If they could prove the allegations, It would catapult True Voice into national prominence. But a single misstep could lead to lawsuits that might bankrupt her platform or destroy its credibility. Undeterred, Monica mobilized her team, each member bringing their unique skills to dissect the evidence. Over weeks of grueling work, they uncovered damning emails, linking the conglomerate to corrupt officials, revealing a coordinated effort to bury stories and discredit journalists who dared to report the truth. When the report was ready, Monica painstakingly compiled the findings into a comprehensive exposé. Every sentence was fact-checked, every claim backed by irrefutable evidence. On the day of its planned release, disaster struck. Hackers brought down True Voice's servers, erasing months of work and silencing the platform just hours before the report was scheduled to go live. For a moment, despair threatened to overwhelm Monica, but then her community stepped in. Supporters rallied across social media, sharing drafts, screenshots, and backup files. The report spread like wildfire, reaching millions within hours. The exposé ignited a national reckoning, sparking protests, grassroots campaigns, and congressional hearings. Politicians were forced to confront systemic corruption, and the implicated conglomerate faced an irreversible public fallout. Monica's fearless reporting turned her into a household name, not as a victim of bias, but as a champion of truth. She leveraged her success to create a movement, mentoring young journalists from marginalized backgrounds and expanding True Voice into a training ground for ethical, independent reporting. In the final scene, Monica stands at a podium during a prestigious award ceremony. Looking out at an audience of diverse faces, she says, "We told the stories they tried to bury, and together, we've changed the narrative." The room erupts in applause, a testament to her transformative impact on journalism and society.